Okay, no worries. Just waiting to get the nod here, Ryan. All right. We'll now call this council meeting to order on May the 1st here. And for the land acknowledgement statement, I'm going to go to Councillor Ryan Thompson.
Thanks very much, Mr. Deputy Mayor. We acknowledge with respect the history, spirituality, and culture of the Anishinaabeg, the people of the Three Fires known as the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. We also recognize the Métis and Inuit, whose ancestors shared this land and these waters. May we all, as treaty people, live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples.
Thank you for that, Councillor Thompson. All right, on with the recommendation, approval of the agenda. Sorry, that an addendum to the agenda be added, an additional closed session item under open meeting exemption K of section 239 part 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, and that the agenda be approved as amended. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Winters, Councillor Shouldice, discussion. All the vote, all those in favor? That is carried. For declaration of pecuniary interest, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest tonight? Councillor Day.
I forgot to pull up the wording, but it's the same issue as last time with disclusionary interest for anything related to GM Blue Plan.
Thank you. All right, minutes of the previous meetings. I got a recommendation reading that the minutes of council meeting held on April the 10th, 2024 be adopted. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Shouldice, Councillor Winters, discussion. All the vote, all those in favor. That is carried. 5.2, April 12th, recommendation reads that the minutes of the special council meeting held on April the 12th, 2024 be adopted. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Day, Councillor Thompson, discussion. I will call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Announcements. Does anyone wish to make an announcement tonight? All right, not seeing any. On to, okay, go ahead there, Councillor Shouldice.
Today being May 1st is National First Responders Day. I want to say that they should continue to be recognized for their efforts in terms of all of our first responders, really. But I'm going to give a special shout out to my friend Brad. He's a paramedic with Bruce County there, and he's a great guy to work with. And I just want to say special thanks to all Bruce County paramedics and all first responders as a whole for their efforts that they put in day to day.
Great acknowledgement there, Councillor Shouldice. Thanks for that. Public hearings, we have nil. Delegations, public question period, 8.1, items on the agenda. Any person who wishes to appear before council regarding an item on the agenda shall now make written application to the clerk by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. To register, www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations, or call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 603. Items not on the agenda. Any person who wishes to appear before council regarding an item not on the agenda may make written application to the clerk by Thursday preceding the meeting they wish to speak at. Register is www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations, or call the clerk's office 519-376-2729, extension 603. 8.2.1 is the condition of the road on concession 5 and concession 3. We have Mr. Wayne King here. Wayne, come to the mic, and I'll give you 10 minutes to speak, sir.
So when I want to talk, I got to press the button.
Nope, you're good to go.
Okay. Well, I've lived in the township. My name's Wayne King, in case anybody doesn't know. I've lived in the township for 57 years. And on my road, especially on the 5th, there's a tremendous amount of traffic. The road is getting broke away at the shoulders because the shoulder is about that much lower than the pavement. And there's been probably over $1 million spent on that road in the last 8 years or so. And it's a shame because there's hundreds of thousands of tons go over that road every year. And I I don't want to see it go to hell because we've spent so much money on it. And I say, like, the third has a lot of traffic too. There's potholes, there's patches after patches. The guys come along, they throw asphalt in, they don't tap it or nothing. You just drive over it and it sounds like a machine gun under the car or the truck because it just. So anyway, I'd like to see something done with his shoulders. And it could be, a lot of it could be very easily done because I've been around machinery all my life in construction. Take the grader, roll the high part off where it's above the grade of the surface, or roll it in towards the pavement, let it sit for a few days, then roll it out and the sod will just disappear. So anyway, I just want to bring that to your attention. Like people over on the third, especially by Lincoln Park, the patch, that hole's been there for years. Now people are driving out into the grass to get around it. That's just past the entrance into Lincoln Park. There's another one just down 200 feet from it. And then if you drive on down the road, there's more. They got to be fixed. That's all there is to it. So, the machinery, back to the machinery. Grey County keep their stuff spotless. Like, I mean, whatever they have is spotless. We don't. They have a backhoe there that's a Caterpillar. I've got a backhoe that's 50 years old and it looks better than that one. Why they don't wash this stuff, I have no idea. And the same with the small trucks, like the 1 tons and that. I don't think they ever get washed, only in the rain. So, it's, let's see here. That's about it for me. But another thing is in the snow, in the wintertime, why do they drag the plow and the wing over when there is not a thing on the road? I cannot get through my mind. Like, I've plowed a lot of snow in my time. If we ever got to a bare spot, we left the plow and left the wing and drop it wherever we had to. So that's all. But the main thing is the road. Those roads got to be done. A 6 going up the side road 6, it's all breaking away. I got pictures here. You're welcome to take a look at them. I have to say, I think.
So for myself, Mr. King, I don't need to see them because I live there. So I know exactly what you're talking about, right? I'm between 3 and 5, so I know exactly what you're talking about in that instance there. These guys may not be, or the rest of the councilors may not be quite as up to speed as what I am on it, but I'm not going to say you're not right in your recommendations or ask, and we can talk to staff as how to move this forward.
Yeah. Well, like I say, where the shoulder is down 4 or 5 inches, all they got to do is take like a cell phone loading truck, go along, and then just grade it into the shoulder and pack it. That's all. It's not rocket science. All right.
No, for sure. It's just time, right? So we should have the equipment to be able to do it. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing it forward to us here, and we'll talk to staff and see what we can do with it. So yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you. Care. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. We got, does anybody have items in the consent agenda they'd like to pull? Councilor Winters.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to pull 9.3.4 and 9.3.9 for further discussion, please.
9.3.4 and 9.3.9. Anyone else got anything they'd like to pull? Right. So the recommendation reads that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt the consent agenda for information as circulated, less items 9.3.4 and 9.3.9, and that all items containing therein are hereby approved. I need a mover and a seconder. Today, Councillor Stoldice. A discussion. All the vote, all those in favor? That is carried. All right, so back to 9.3.4, Councillor Winters.
Thank you. And this goes back, I think, to a conversation we had a few months ago when the CAO brought it to our attention about what's eligible and ineligible for premises based on the new recycling regulation coming out. And I mean, we're going to leave potentially farmers, commercial industrial buildings, schools kind of left out there as non-eligible. So I think it's worthwhile that we do support this municipality. I think it's the Township of Perry, and their motion to the province saying we need to amend that regulation that all recyclables be included in this recycling regulation and not just what they consider eligible and ineligible, right? The producer should be responsible for that packaging from the time it leaves the factory to the time it's recycled, regardless of who uses it.
Perfect. Discussion from anybody else on that? Yes, Councillor Day.
I thank you for bringing this forward and support your request.
So I'm gathering then, Carly, that we'll put a notice or a letter of support for this. Or you need to move her in a seconder to do so. Councillor Winters, Councillor Stoldice. Discussion. All those in favor, or call the vote. All those in favor? That's carried. All right, and then 9.3.9.
Thank you again. This one kind of hits home. I mean, it's municipality or the Loyalist Township is asking the province to really look at affordability of water and sewer rates. I mean, as the owners of 4 water systems, I mean, I think we owe it to our residents to say, listen, we realize that these small self-sustaining water systems can't sustain themselves at an affordable level, right? We start talking 10%, 15%, 20% increases to break even. I think we should join the fight on this one here and throw our support behind this as well.
Letter of support also here too. Need the mover and a seconder. Mr. Winters, Mr. Stoldice. Discussion from anybody? Council. No discussion. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. All right. Moving on to correspondence. 11.1 is a draft letter from 2023 audit planning letter from the BDO. Any member wish to comment? Seeing any comments, we'll just receive this for information. We don't need a mover or seconder on that. Committee reports 12.1. Recommendation reads that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on April 17, 2024 be adopted, including recommendations COW 2024-035 to COW 2024-043. Need a mover and a second. Mr. Winters, Councillor Stoldice. Discussion. Councillor Day.
My apologies. I'm a little lost in the agenda. If 12.1.4 is included,
It is included in that.
I need to pull that one so I can not vote.
Okay. So I can just pull that one from the. Pull that out for Councillor. Okay. Okay. So we'll go with so I'll read the recommendation again. The minutes of the committee of the whole meeting on April 17th, 2024 be adopted, including recommendations COW 2024-035 to COW 2024-043, excluding DEV 2024-024. For further discussion. Yeah, correct. Zero 035 and 038. Okay. All right, so going back to the original motion there on the ones we have there to adopt, we got a mover and a seconder, I do believe. We got that part. Discussion on the original. Seeing any, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. And now we'll excuse Councillor Day on the passing of COW 2024-038, DEV 2024-024, and there was another one, 35. procedure. So I'm good with the first two that I've named. Yep. All right, the ones on the floor, I need a mover and a seconder to put on the floor. Shoalice, Councillor Thompson. Any discussion on that particular one? Not seeing any. I will call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, it's fine. All right, am I done with staff reports already? Because I get lost. This is going too fast. All right, staff reports. We have nil. Bylaws, zoning bylaw. 14.1.1. Bylaw 2024-024, zoning bylaw amendment for Lillian Dieter. Whereas council has given consideration to the written comments submitted by the agencies in the decision on the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application Z0124 for Lillian Dieter for property located on Plan 857, Lot 4344, Part Lot 35, RP 16R6795, Part 4, and whereas council has considered oral submission made at the public meeting, therefore it be resolved that the council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs be satisfied that the proposed amendment is consistent with the provincial policy statement 2020 and other governing regulations, and that bylaw 2024-024 be read the first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed by the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a second. Councilor Winters, Councilor Shoalice, discussion. All the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 14.2, bylaw 2024-025, Enbridge franchise agreement. Recommendation reads that bylaw 2024-025 being a bylaw to authorize a franchise agreement between the corporation of the Township of Georgian Bluffs and Enbridge Gas Incorporated, read a first, second time and presented for the third and final reading and passing at a future meeting. Need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Shoalice, Councilor Thompson, discussion. No discussion, call the vote. All those for? It is carried. 14.2.2, bylaw 2024-026, Owen Sound Building Department. Recommendation reads that bylaw 2024-026 being a bylaw to appoint deputy chief building officials and inspectors for the corporation of the Township of Georgian Bluffs be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. Mover and a seconder. Councilor Winters, Councilor Shoalice, discussion. Yes, Councilor Winters.
If I may, through you, Deputy Mayor Pringle, to the CAO there. Good news. Looking forward to this. It's nice to get some local ability and presence back in our building official there. The only question I have is the consultant still on retainer, or is this intended to replace the consultants? And then just the cost. I mean, I'm always cautious about costs and agreements. I'm assuming that this agreement will save us money versus the consultant.
So through you, Deputy Mayor Pringle, good questions, Councillor Winters. Yeah, we're delighted to be working with the city on this one, and yes, as you say, it is going to reduce our consultant costs. It will take us a few weeks to get into the new system and to swing a new system, but the hope is that this will replace some of the out of area plans review that we've been supported by over recent weeks with the consultant. So that's what we're hoping that Owen Sound will be able to help with. We are going to need to maintain a close working relationship with RSM for building inspection services while our CBO returns from a period of personal leave. But yes, this will reduce our reliance on consultants. And yes, the costs that we've negotiated with the City of Owen Sound to compensate for their staff time are less than the costs that we're paying the consultants. So there will be a win-win-win on this one, hopefully.
All up. Good. Thank you. Well, that is good news for sure. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 14.2.3, bylaw 2024-027, James Special Services. That the bylaw 2024-027 being a bylaw to appoint James Special Services as a municipal bylaw enforcement officers of the Township of Georgian Bluffs read the first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a seconder. Mr. Sholes. Councillor Winters. Discussion? Not seeing any discussion. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, unfinished business. We have nil. New business, we have nil. Notice of motion. Does any member wish to provide a notice of motion or notice of discussion? Councillor Winters.
Thank you. And it's more just a notice of information if I can. Concession 14, I see we've got some road close signs back up again west of Hyman Side Road. Just wondering if there's an update on the drainage issues there or progress being made to alleviate some of that. Thank you.
So through you, Deputy Mayor Pringle, I can provide a quick update and we'll speak to the operations team for a bit further. We have had crews out. They've been out and addressed partially some of the beaver dams. So we have punctured the beaver dam just downstream to try and alleviate some of the flooding which has been going on that road. It is part of the spring grading program, so we are working toward reopening the road for through traffic, and we have been working both with the landowners and with trappers in that area to try and control the beavers, which are ultimately causing the flooding in that area. So work continues. It's always going to be a little bit of an uphill battle in that area, as you know. But yeah, we have taken action to reopen the road following the seasonal closure.
Thank you. Oliver. Thank you for that. All right, I do have a notice of motion I'd like to bring forward after just coming back from the Good Roads Conference in Toronto. I would like to see the township do a cost comparison with our gravel roads and the maintenance levels of our gravel roads and where we'd fall in line with when does it become cost effective to move to asphalt. It was something that I'd taken when I was down there. I think we can do a lot better job of that piece of it there, and it'd just be good to get some numbers together that we can see where when does a gravel road warrant being paved. So I'll leave Carly and I can get together to craft the motion up for the meeting in a couple weeks here, but I would like to bring that back as a notice of motion. All right, closed session. The Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs moving to closed session at 5:23 p.m. in the council chambers with the CAO, Director of Corporate Services, Director of Development and Infrastructure, and the Manager of Legislative Services Clerk remaining in the room to discuss approval of, sorry, because that's all I need right now. Sorry, yes I do. Approved for closed session minutes, 18.1. 18.2 is the proposed or pending acquisition or deposition of lands by the municipality or local board, open meeting exemption C of the section 239-2 of the Municipal Act 2001, offer to sell lands to in the former Keppel Township. And 18.3, a position plan procedure critical or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, open meeting exemption K of the section 239-2, the Municipal Act 2001, update and ongoing negotiations. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Sholes. Councillor Winters. Discussion. Seeing any discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. We'll move into closed session. All right, we're back to open session here. Council moved into closed session under open meeting exemption C of NK of section 239-2 of the Municipal Act 2001. As a result of closed session discussions, the following actions were taken. 18.1 closed session minutes were approved in accordance with the closed session policy. 18.2 direction was provided to staff. 18.3 direction was provided to staff. Confirming bylaw, the bylaw number 2024-028 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on May 1st, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a seconder. Sholes, Councillor Thompson. Discussion. Call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Date of our next regular meeting, Committee of the Whole, May 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. And then May 15th, 2024 at 5 p.m. There's no further business. I will now call for adjournment of this meeting. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Winters. Discussion. Call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We are now adjourned.